passionate about this game. I love this game. So if those cameras were not there, that's who I would be. And it's good that, I guess the fans and everybody, that of course Detroit fans and you guys get a chance to see us in that light. So it's cool.
Do you think it's so easy for you guys collectively as a coaching staff just because of the comfort you have in your own skin?
What'd you say to him again? I'm sorry.
Just the comfort level you guys have in your own skin, does that make this easy? I mean, a lot of coaches don't like doing it, but it seems like you guys have kind of embraced it just because you're comfortable with who you are.
Oh, definitely. I guess if I wasn't, you would see a whole nother side of me, and you guys would be questioning that when they leave.
What do you think it does for your, just one other little follow-up on it real quick, what do you think it does for your profile in terms of getting a head coaching job one day?
Don't really care about it, honestly and truthfully. I'm here for them to make sure they get better. I live vicariously through them. I still love this game. I still got that small burning lantern inside of me that wish I could play, but I got to play through them. And what you see is what you get.
Care about that at the bottom line. It does sort of introduce you to, the NFL or owners or whoever may be watching it, right? GMs. It can't hurt, I guess, in that regard, right?
Yeah, it can't.
Yeah, what do you think about the DeAndre Swift? He set a couple of lofty goals for himself, 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. What do you think about that?
Oh, I love it. I love it. When I heard about it, I jumped through the roof. That's good, too, because, you sit there and you see a kid like that, the talent that he has, he can definitely be a good one. And to set the goals that high, now he's challenging himself, which I love.
Is there anything missing in his repertoire that would keep him from becoming an elite running back?
No.
Another short question for you. You guys have been Coach Dan said you guys have been monitoring just as far as his health-wise. So we haven't saw the best of him just finishing the season. Just talk about that decision and how you guys are managing him to be healthy throughout the whole season. That seems like that's really the number one thing is seeing if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and also the rotation helps. And I think Dan has done a good job as far as just talking to Swift. I've done a good job of communicating with him exactly how we're going to approach the year. And, managing his reps in training camp. And as soon as we get into the season now, it's go time. So, and I think he's embraced it. I think he understands what we're doing. And, he's all in.
We've seen you coaching him pretty hard on Hard Knocks. And like Justin said, those are usually private moments between coach and player. I guess I'm just curious what it's been like having those moments play out publicly for you, maybe for him as well.
Yeah, that's been since day one. Since day one, I came through the doors. I told him I'm gonna get the best out of him, and I only know one way. And just being able to coach some of the guys that I've coached, from Sproles to McCoy, Ryan Matthews, nothing's changed. And my job as a coach is, number one, put him in the best position to make plays. That's number one. Number two is to get him to run through a brick wall with me and not for me. And once we get on that page, you'll see a different player.
Hey, Duce, one of the things that Dan talked about yesterday with us was just about putting the players in pads more and how he feels like that may be something that will help them more during the season, and also playing them in the third preseason game, particularly at the position of running back, which is much more physical and pounding. Do you see benefits to that, having more padded practices and more contact during the offseason and keeping guys healthy down the stretch?
Definitely. It's still a man whip a man game. And when you out there between the lines, these are legal street fights, man. You got guys that's running 20 to 22 miles per hour. These are car wrecks. In order to get ready for that, you got to put it in that situation. Especially for a running back. As a running back, you have to take certain hits. You go back and look at the game last week with those guys being able to get those carries and take those hits. You don't get those hits in practice because, of course, it's not live. So any opportunity you get a chance to get it, you want to put them in there and get them out.
You have a stable of backs you know pretty well. Most of those guys were here with you last year. When a guy like Justin Jackson comes in, he's got a pretty good resume, 5 yards per carry as a backup in LA, and he comes in, he shows what he did in that preseason game. What does that do for him as he's fighting, I guess, for a roster spot here?
I think the better question is what it do for the room. It's all about competition in my room. And since day one, I told him I don't have a starter. You want to start? Show me. And for a guy to come off the street like that and go out there and just compete, from special teams to playing running back. You see him out there in blitz pickup. You see him out there understanding exactly what we're trying to get done offensively. He's challenging other guys. And when you can get that heat, that challenge heat, I'll call it, in the room, everybody else picked their game up.
Duce, I'm wondering, what was your reaction to yesterday, having a practice with no coaches, and then seeing, obviously, how it went?
Went well. It tells you about the guys embracing the coaching and the teaching, to go out there and do what they did. I didn't expect anything less. I expect for all three phases to go out there and function as they did yesterday and to have fun doing it.
Craig kind of came out of nowhere last year with what he was able to do.
Netflix.
Hulu, right?
Yep, he graduated. That's right. I got both now, so I go back and forth.
It seems like Craig has really settled in this year into I don't know if you call him a number 3 role, but that's where he's been repping quite a bit. I'm just kind of curious what you've seen from Craig and his development, kind of settling into where he is now.
Right. He's a year better, definitely. Just to be able, once again, another great story. Kind of remind you of JJ a little bit, coming in and being able to take advantage of the opportunities. And every opportunity, no matter what it is, he's going to take advantage of. No matter if it's special teams, he's out there running down, kickoff returns, He's doing his thing, blocking. Then he comes in as a running back, doesn't skip a beat and continue to be successful and productive. I'm a big Craig fan.
Certainly Hard Knocks has raised the profile of this team, and the expectations, it seems, were higher coming in for year 2 for this staff. How do you embrace that type of expectation for this team?
We live day to day. That's it. We're going to pick up that axe and continue to chop away. So we'll let y'all talk about the expectations and talk about this, that, and the other, or Hard Knocks, but that's not us. We're just trying to put the best group of guys on the field so they can go out there and have fun and be productive, to get this organization into a winning organization.
Speaking for the room here, but one of my favorite parts of practice is the little competitions you have during the individual drills.
Hopefully you don't hear me talking.
We do.
It's pretty colorful.
Yeah. What are the? Is there any stakes? I mean, winning, losing, other than just I guess what you're putting on film, but. Anybody picking up dinner tabs or anything?
It's competitive. It's super competitive. Let me say that. And those guys, they challenge each other that way. So when you got a guy like Swift who's super quick, everybody wants a piece of him but won't say it. They want to try him but they won't say it. So I got to throw him out there in the fire. And every now and then we bet a cupcake.
He's not in your room, but I just wanted to get your impressions of Jared Goff now that you've been around him for 18 months, sort of how far he's come from last year, the confidence I guess he has now versus what he was when he first walked in the building.
Yeah, true leader, man. These guys look up to him. They listen to him. You can tell when he enter a room how they respect him. And as a quarterback, when you on the outside looking in, as a coach first, to see the guys look at a quarterback like that is special. And, you can always tell from your O-line how he's respected. So if you ever get knocked down, you see those guys that are running over there to get him up. And those guys love him. They love fighting for him. They love battling for him. And I'm happy we got him.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Dan wasn't here before me. I know that. Good afternoon. I thought I was going to be outside a little bit longer. Anytime you guys have Duce up here, I know it takes a good 25 to 30 minutes before he stops. But, man, this is always the toughest part of the year for a coach. The reason I say that is because it's starting to get cut down time. And, man, you've grown to have these relationships with some of these players as men and as players, and tough decisions have to be made. And this is what these weeks are about. So, well, I tell you, we're looking forward to it. And you like the fact that you have tough decisions because that tells you something about your roster, that your roster is getting better. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to this game. Starters are going to play. And, man, what more you want as a coach to be able to say exactly where you are, against a good team like Pittsburgh. So we're looking forward to it.
We asked you a little bit earlier about that competition with Will Harris, Jeff Okuda.
Yep.
I guess after getting a litlittle bit of time to check them out, just what's been your impressions of the battle? You like the battle?
I do like the battle.
Any tidbits you can offer who might be in front of you?
Wouldn't you like to know? I would say this, and man, I'm not just saying this just to be saying it, but both of those guys have been showing some really good things on the field in practice and in games. This is an ongoing battle, and it will be an ongoing battle. I mean, I wish I could sit here and tell you exactly when we can say, okay, here's the stamp, here's the guy that's going to be the starter. But I will say this, both of those guys will have a role within our defense, and we're going to try to do everything we can to make sure that we put those guys in a situation where they're going to be successful. So they've been doing a good job.
Hey, Jude, in your opinion, what's the biggest value in having, from a defensive standpoint, players going in so many padded practice during training camp and as well playing in the final preseason game? How does that push you into the season more prepared?
Well, I will tell you this as a defensive coach. You want to always be able to establish yourself as a violent physical team. And the only way that you can get that is by having padded practices. Now, we're smart by the way we go about it. By padded practice one day, the next day, we're off. The next day we'll go back to a padded practice. And you have to do that in this day and age with the players because of how long the season is. But I would say this, man, we need that. And we need this game. We need their best because we want to see exactly how we are. We had a chance to do it in practice against the Colts, and I thought our guys held up really, really well, right, even in the game. But we need another game to where we're playing somebody's best to see exactly where we are going to Philly.
Just what you said to Eric, that both Lil and Jeff will have a role. Can you explain that a little bit? I mean, is there any danger in not letting a cornerback get in rhythm? I mean, is there something about that? Can Will play slot? Like, how do you? What's your vision for both of them having a role like this?
Well, there's no danger until you get to the season to where you just say, okay, here's our starter, and then you let that guy play. And as the season progresses, there's roles as far as dime. There's roles as far as penny package that guys will have a role. So each guy will have their chance to go out there and play. We just haven't made a decision on who's that lockdown guy at that spot right now. So, no, I don't believe in having a guy play for a quarter and, doing preseason. Yeah, that happens. But once the season goes, man, we're going to have a guy that's going to be that starter.
The other thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned the roster battles. You guys are year 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Progressing as a program. So how do you sort of value the upside of a player, the future potential contributions? A guy like Iffy who hasn't played a lot, or even Demetrius versus needing some contributions in the present to help your defense and become win the games that you want to win this year.
Well, I would say this: the players that we're counting that's been here that we know that, like Charles, like Hutch, guys all starters, man, those guys are going to go out there and do what they do. You always need quality backup. You always need quality role players because, man, this is a game of injuries, right? It's the biggest equalizer in our game. So if you don't have those backups that's getting those reps in that same position, man, you can find yourself behind the 8 ball. So we want to make sure that everybody's getting those quality reps. Just like today, man, you're going to get the first team, second team, third team. Those guys are going to get those reps because we need them to. And then in the game, we need those backup guys to get ready to play because we don't know what's going to happen as the season progresses. So I think Coach does a really good job of making sure that there's a good rotation between our starters and our backups and things like that.
I guess I meant, like, when it comes to making a roster cut.
Yeah.
How do you? I know it's Brad, and it's a collaborative process, but how do you value that? Like the need for that backup to be able to contribute now versus what maybe some untapped potential in the future?
Well, I'm really trying to understand your question.
Like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just like, if he might not be able to play a lot early in the season,
Yeah.
right? But he's a third-round pick, and maybe there's some future value as a matchup piece. Like
I got you. Well, I would say this. And I think Dan does a really good job with this. He doesn't care where you were drafted. He doesn't care where you came from. If he feels like you have a role on this team and he feels like you fit, then you'll be on this team. If you don't fit, if you don't have a role, you won't be here. And that's as easy as I can answer that. And I like that. Yeah, because there's no BS behind that, and the players know it, and the players they've been knowing that's who he is, So, and I hope that answers your question. And that's how I am as a coach. I feel the same exact way.
Yeah, Coach, is there a particular place in your unit where you think you're improved from last year, just either an aspect of the way you play or whatever?
You know what? I would say our D-line has taken a huge step as far as understanding exactly how we want to play up front. You hear the new scheme, the new system that we're doing, but it's a system that we've been doing. We just kind of tweaked it just a little bit as far as how we want guys to attack blocks. And I think those guys are bought into it. They understand it. It's taken a while, like any type of new technique that you teach a guy. But, man, I tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing to watch when you watch us practice against the coach, a really good offensive line. And then you see these guys operate in the game the way they operated. So that part of our game has really improved for stopping the run.
I just want to think about it. When you're good up front and doing what you want to do, how does that help the guys playing behind, the linebackers, secondary, the whole thing?
Well, if you can stop the run with a light box, that gives you more coverage flexibility. And that's who we are anyway. That's why we spend so much time trying to make sure that we're on point when it comes to stopping the run. And I tell you what, last week showed that we're getting there. And I talked to our guys about that this morning and showed tape of it this morning. This is how we want to end up playing. This is why we want to end up playing that way. And the guys understand that. We just have to continue as far as our coverage responsibilities to make sure that we get that down, because it's a passing league. We have to make sure we understand that and how we got to make sure that our coverage responsibilities are on point.
Kind of dipped into it there. So we've seen the improvements from D-line from
Yeah.
the start of camp to now. Seen some communication and misassignments in the back end. That was something you guys dealt with,
Yeah.
through the first half of last season before you really started correcting it. So what did you learn, I guess, as a teacher in getting those guys right last year that you can apply this year to some of these young guys to fix it faster?
Well, I laugh at that because that's always the term that everybody uses every time something happens in the back end, miscommunication. Sometimes it's, I got beat, or sometimes it's, I didn't understand, or I thought this was going to happen, or whatnot. But for the most part, man, I think our guys are doing a pretty good job. Now, listen, did we have some issues last week? Yeah, we did. We did. And usually in the back end, when you have those type of issues, it's more than one thing that you can blame that on. It's hardly ever one person that you can blame that on. And for the most part, those are reps, especially when you have young guys, right? So to answer your question, the only way you get over that is reps. Because the college game and the NFL game are so different, especially when you come to the passing game. The ball doesn't always come out as fast in our game than they do in the college game. So sometimes our guys have to hold their coverage a lot longer. We have way more max protection in our game than the college game. College game, you get 5 hours as much as possible. All right, so the ball's going to come off fast. In our game, they might keep two tight ends in. They might block it up, and you have guys streaking down the field. And our guys just have to understand how we have to adjust and cover those routes. So and it's good that it's happening during the preseason, so our guys can get a chance to study that and be able to get better as the season progresses.
Wondering about the linebackers,
Yeah.
how you felt they progressed over the last 7 days, and then also with the infusion of Malcolm Rodriguez and what he brings.
I knew Rodrigo's name was coming up. I was just waiting. And yes, it is Rodrigo. But I tell you what, he's a pretty amazing little player, isn't he? But I'll tell you what, those guys are doing really good. The one thing that I'm really excited about, and it goes with the D-line, the question that was asked, is the way that those guys are starting to really connect with each other. Because usually the run game is not truly on point unless the D-line and the linebackers on the same page. And you really see that with our guys. All right, you see our guys getting ready to come down here, and we taking blocks off the D-line, and they're making plays. Or you see our guys attacking gaps, and the D-line is holding their blocks, right, and they're running through, and they're going to make plays. And the only way you can get that is trust. And our guys are really starting to trust each other, and that's a beautiful thing to watch. It happened in practice. It happened in the game. You see it against our guys when they had the players only practice yesterday with the run game. And you even talk to our own offensive linemen, man. That's one thing that they're saying for the most part, that's been a huge change as far as the trust with our D-line, our linebackers. So it's really a beautiful thing to watch.
With Malcolm, as a quick follow-up, how you felt like he's handled the increased attention nationally here in locally too?
Well, you guys made him a star, you know, and I've said it before, and this is my Bill Parcells. Don't put him in the Hall of Fame just yet. But I'll tell you what, he's a really humble kid. If the starting job is his, it's his. If it's not, it's not, and he'll play special teams. He has to earn his keep, and he knows that. And I think he's doing a really good job of that because he's a focused individual. He understands exactly what he has to do, all right, to have a role as far as this defense is concerned. And I'm proud of the way he's operating.
I think part of what's making him the star, as you referred to, is Hard Knocks, and I think it was Justin who asked a question to Duce about his role and your role, and I just want to know how you keep yourself authentic or just doing your thing when Hard Knocks is around, or just your perception on these first few.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't even think about Hard Knocks being around. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Maybe I should more, but man, the players know me as AG, and that's what you're going to get. And I'm not going to be fake for anybody. I don't care who's here. I don't care what coach is around. I don't care what play. Because when the players talk about me, this is who I am, and that's not changing. So I'm not here to make anybody a star. You know, I'm here to coach football, and that's all that matters to me. I'm here to be the best defensive coordinator that the Lions have ever had, and I've been saying it for the longest. And whatever it takes to do that, that's what I'm gonna do. And I can care less about everything else, to be honest with you. I just like coaching football.
Quick question, just your thoughts on the night practice, the energy, the change of pace.
It's practice.
That's it.
It's practice. We're gonna strap our boots on no matter what. It could be at 3 o'clock in the morning. It could be 6 at night. What did coach say? It can be in a minefield. It can be whatever that deal he said. I feel the same way. But it doesn't matter. You know, time doesn't matter. We just want to go practice because we need to get better. So
Let's do a 3 a.m. one.
say it again.
So let's do a 3 a.m. one. Get out of here early. You know? Take it.
I think I was lying a little bit about the 3 a.m. All right, fellas.